A starving wild dog slowly approached the little girl, step by step. Frightened, the girl quickly backed up to the edge of the platform, below which lay a foundation filled with steel bars. If she fell, the consequences would be unimaginable. Hearing his daughter's cries for help, Nick quickly poked his head out to check on her. He realized she was in imminent danger of falling. Nick first told his daughter not to move, then picked up a rock and threw it at the wild dog. Startled, the dog ran away. But the little girl, also frightened by the dog, fell off the edge. Despite Nick's desperate attempts to save her, he was always one step too late. Shortly after, Nick woke up from unconsciousness and saw his wife holding their daughter, crying uncontrollably. He realized an accident had happened to his daughter, but then a miracle occurred. The girl suddenly regained consciousness. Falling from such a height, she had only suffered minor injuries. To be safe, the couple decided to take their daughter to a hospital for a full-body checkup. However, upon arriving at the hospital, they discovered it was overcrowded with patients. Even if they waited until evening, there was no guarantee they could get the examination done. Nick approached the front desk nurse and asked if they could make an exception, as his daughter's situation was extremely urgent. But the nurse coldly told him that he had to wait in line. After returning to his seat, Nick found his daughter had fallen asleep. He decided to go out and buy 2 bottles of water. However, near the vending machine, Nick witnessed a strange scene. A doctor handed a box to a driver, who then gave the doctor a thick envelope in return, as if they were engaging in some kind of shady deal. Although he found it odd, Nick didn't want to get involved in other people's business. Finally, it was Nick and his family's turn to see the doctor. However, the person who came was not a doctor, but more like an information investigator. He began asking Nick various questions. What is your job? Do you have any hereditary diseases in your family? Do you want your daughter to be put on the organ donation list? After a series of bizarre questions, they finally arranged for medical treatment. After the doctor's examination, it turned out that Emily had only injured her arm, and the rest of her body was fine. However, the doctor then suggested performing a head examination on Emily, as falling from a high place could potentially cause head injuries. Although she seemed fine now, if any issues arose, the consequences could be dire. After some consideration, Nick directly agreed to the doctor's suggestion. The doctor then led them to the CT room for the examination. However, upon reaching the elevator, the doctor mentioned that the examination room was in a restricted area, and each patient could only be accompanied by one family member. Considering that his wife would be very anxious waiting alone upstairs, Nick let her go with their daughter while he stayed in the hall to wait. Soon, evening arrived, and Nick slowly woke up from his sleep. However, his wife and daughter had not yet returned. Realizing something was wrong, Nick hurried to the front desk to inquire. After a thorough search, the nurse told him that his daughter's name was not in the system at all. Hearing this, Nick was speechless. He had clearly registered her in the morning, so how could there be no information about his daughter now? He then asked the nurse to call the CT room, but the result was the same. Nick was completely bewildered. Could it be that his brain was damaged from the fall, causing his memory to become confused? He had only brought his wife and daughter to see a doctor, but now they had vanished into thin air. The name of this movie is Fractured.